You've been to Florida. How was that? Because I'm very, very jealous.
It was productive. It was nice to enjoy, ambient warmth in the middle of January. That was very nice. And although the trip out there was a little stressful, it didn't go quite to plan. Once I was there, it was shot lots of, I think, good videos. I don't like the videos I've done quite as much as the previous two little international mini-series. I did the Canada one and New York, Long Island, but I think that's probably just because it's less of a novelty. Those were the first 2 times in 2 years I could travel. Yeah. But objectively, they might still be good. I think there are definitely some good videos in there.
Yeah, your channel is flying at the moment. It's absolutely...
Thank you.
I think you're in your stride now. You're in the golden era. Hopefully, long may it continue, but you are really it's got some legs on it at the moment.
It only took 7 years.
7. I do love it. I still meet people now. Like, we've made so much content about this, and they think that you just eat on YouTube. Yeah. Oh, I'd love to get paid to eat on YouTube. Not that you've been doing it for almost a decade. You should be able to reap the rewards.
That's my goal now. Who was asking me the other day? One of my friends was asking me, how long are you going to go for? I'm like, it's got to be at least 10 years. Yeah. You've got to get to, I've got to pretty much the 7-year mark now. I don't know if I can take it, but another 3 years, take me the 10-year anniversary. I think that should be it.
Yeah, I think you've got to, haven't you?
I might keep going past that. I'm not saying that's the finite end of the channel. I'm just saying that
exclusive. Beard's going to quit in 3 years' time.
To get to 10 years would be good, I think.
Mate, tell me about the trip then, because I remember some messages coming my way on WhatsApp as you were on your way out there. You might have picked up, for the long-term sort of listeners of this podcast, you might have picked up that Adam can get wound up from time to time. You might not pick that up on his main channel, but on this podcast, we've touched on it, and off camera I can confirm, he can get wound up from time to time after his trip to London and whatnot. So I got a text off Adam. I'm like, how's it going, mate? How was the trip to Florida? And it was basically, the fucking flight's got cancelled.
There were lots of expletives in there, yeah. My flight was, I flew with, I'm gonna fucking dig them out. Aer Lingus, right?
Who?
Aer Lingus, it's like an Irish airline. Aer Lingus, right?
Right.
But I think they're owned by British Airways, because I was on that British Airways app. This was the mistake I made. It was slightly cheaper than all the other flights.
Typical Yorkshireman, eh? You're doing all right, but you're still trying to get a deal.
But I picked that. I chose that flight, and we got there, and they've got the engine, one of the engines open. I got to the gate pretty quickly because I was early.
Mate, if I got to the gate and I saw them changing oil filter on the airplane engine, I'd be bouncing out of there. I'm terrified of flying.
I'm not scared of flying. I'm scared of the red tape of it. I hate the whole check-in and security procedure and all that. But this engine was open, and the longer it's been delayed half an hour. It's been delayed an hour, and I'm like, I looked around. There's probably 30 people on the flight, and I'm thinking they're probably just gonna. You didn't say it to.
That's all right. You're all right.
Okay. I'm looking around thinking there are 30 people on this flight. From the airline's point of view, it wouldn't surprise me if they just said it was a mechanical fault or something, and they didn't let the plane fly. So anyway, the flight got cancelled. They put us up in a hotel, and carnage ensued from that point, because it wasn't so much. I get that things, flights get cancelled and whatnot. And I'd rather it be cancelled than me flying a death trap, at 30,000 feet or whatever. But it was just the way they handled it, because they pretty much just said, okay, this flight's been cancelled. If you still want to fly, then you have to call the call center to rearrange your own flights, which for me smacks of amateurism, right? You've got the flight manifest there. You work for the airline. Just call whoever you need to call. Say, these people want to fly. Let's get them on the first flight tomorrow or whatever flight.
Yeah.
Nah, they just said call the call center. And what made it worse is you had to queue for 40, 50 minutes. And I called them once. The woman hung up on me. And then the second time, as soon as I answered, they put the phone down. So, which just enraged me, right? Because I'm not the kind of person that shouts at people. I think even Josh would agree that I don't commonly just start throwing my weight around. But I think exactly my 152 pounds of weight around. But I think I just expected a level of customer service higher than that, right? That they would just sort it out if they've had to cancel it.
I think it's a fair assumption that if they've cancelled your flight, put you in a hotel for you to fly on the next flight the day after, they would probably just square that away for you.
Yeah, but no, it was the rest of the day on hold. The worst part about it was the part that made me laugh. So they did, to their credit, arrange a hotel, right? So everyone that was supposed to be on this flight was going to stay at a hotel for the night and then fly the next morning if they could get through to somebody in the call center. And this coach, a full on coach, is parked up, and everyone loads on there, and I'm just still arguing essentially with this rep. Good job I did, because she ended up getting me on the flight in the end.
Right.
After she said, no, we can't do anything. She got me on the flight. It wasn't me, Colin, that did that. But anyway, everyone else is loaded onto the coach, and the driver says to me, he's like, you coming with me? I said, where's the hotel? He's like, oh, it's like half a mile that way. So I'm like, oh, so why is there a coach to go a half? I'm like, half mile, like I can walk it in 10 minutes. He's like, yeah. I'm thinking, oh no, mate, like you go. So anyway, maybe about 20 minutes goes by. I'm still talking to this rep, and this huge woman just leans outside. These big, it's a proper big coach, like a coach trip and stuff. And she's like, excuse me, are you getting on this coach or what? We're waiting to go to the hotel. I'm thinking, okay, there's no need to be that mad from the get-go, right? Second of all, I said to her, no, I'm not getting on the coach because the hotel is visible from here. I'm like, I could literally walk it in 10 minutes. Why would I get a coach to a hotel? I said, I told the guy 20 minutes ago he could leave. And she said, whoa, but there's all these people waiting. I'm like, what, you in a rush? So the flight just got cancelled. We're not flying until, fucking at least 15 hours from now. Calm down. So there was that. And then we did get 2 free meal vouchers though for the hotel, and the food there was pretty good.
I guess that's the worst thing to give somebody in your profession, isn't it?
Only 2. But yeah, once I got there, it was all right.
So the flight was okay after that then? They got you on, what was it, the morning after?
Yeah, the flight itself was okay. But we talked about this before. I flew business class, right? I'm happy to admit to it because I just like the extra leg room, right? And it's tax deductible for me.
You get a booster seat out for him. Hey, here you go, Mr. Moran. Here's your business seat. There's your booster seat. Sit in your business seat.
But, no, they move upwards. You don't need a booster seat. But I hate the whole mentality of it. Like everyone thinks they're on the Titanic or some shit. You get on there and
they're like clicking the fingers.
Yeah, there was
bring me wine.
There was this one. I've never seen a guy so pissed. By which I mean drunk, if there's anyone from America listening, on a flight in my life. He must have had, what's the flight, maybe 9 hours, maybe? On the way
9 hours, Florida, yeah.
He must, at least 20, if not more drinks, right? Every time somebody came past him, he was getting drink, right? So he's taking the piss, right? I get the whole free bar thing, right? But he's and it got to the point where at the end, it was kind of winding me up because instead of asking the stewardess, could I have another drink, please? He was just honestly just shaking his glass, and I'm thinking, oh, you fucking knob. why would anyone act that way, So yeah, and it turned out as well that he was a bit of an Epstein apologist. So he started having this really loud debate on the plane.
This goes back to what we said at the start of this podcast. Yeah. How could you apologise for
exactly.
Epstein?
He was suggesting that the people his accused Epstein. That's maybe he was called that at school. No, Jeffrey Epstein's accusers were. He was suggesting that they knew what they were doing and like they consented to it at the time, but had since thought, maybe I didn't agree with it. So
who did he get in this conversation with?
A few women, by the way, which I think made it even worse, that were sat next to him. And it actually got to the point where the stewardess had to tell him to basically shut up. She said, like, the conversation you're having is not appropriate for a public space. Can you be quiet at the very least? So I don't want to get into... There's always something that happens on a flight, I think, that I don't enjoy. But
for you, yeah, I've never known anybody to have such problems traveling.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's true.
It's like being in a Truman Show. I think one day, like, it's going to turn out like everything is being on film.
I can't remember if we actually sent that sent that podcast live. When we spoke about your traveling last time with the cat. Maybe somebody in the comments can, because
we did. Didn't we?
There were a couple of podcasts we've left on the cutting room floor from the beginning.
This is going to be one of them, I'm telling you.
Yeah, after we've already cancelled ourselves twice. Well, all right. So you got there. What was it? What was the highlight of the trip for you then? Because I mean, I think it's such a cool position to be in, to be able to travel to different countries and create that content. I know obviously it's a job, because my missus were like, "So did he take Mrs. Beard?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "Why not?" I went, He's working. He's literally working. He'll go to a hotel. He'll drive to a restaurant, do the challenge, come back, edit, chill, then go again.
She would hate to come on these trips. But I know what her game is, Mrs. Beard, as well, because she's waiting until I go somewhere really, like, she'll want to go on the most expensive of all the trips. She'll want to go to like the far, the West Coast, LA or Vegas or something like that. She'll be waiting for one of those, or New Orleans. She likes that. But yeah, she would hate it because it's. This is not me complaining, by the way. I'm in an incredibly fortunate position, but I don't do anything touristy. My mum was like, "You've been to Disney World?" I'm like, "Hey, mum."
Imagine how weird that looked. This like 40-year-old hairy man.
Come on, give me a break. 36, turning up to go to Disney World. I don't like theme parks at the best of times. I'm definitely not going to go there by myself, especially on a work trip.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just in the hotel the whole time when I'm not out filming. I'm just editing, so or training. I'll normally be picking out or something like that.